No, I didn't make as much money as you'd think fighting
Did
Floyd.
you get paid from that?
He still owes me $1.5 million. Maybe more.
At the height of Floyd's career, he was one of the wealthiest athletes on the planet. However, the latest news coming from him and his camp is that he is dead broke, and things are getting worse with some of his fitness studios shutting down, jets being sold, and Logan pretty much saying, "B word, where is my money?" Now, in this video, I will show you just how far Floyd has fallen and how Logan intends to get his money back. The money that disappeared. On June 6, 2021, Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather stepped into the ring at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida for an 8-round exhibition. There was no official winner. Mayweather landed 43 of 107 punches. Paul landed 28 of 217. Mayweather controlled most of the action with his signature shoulder roll, pull counters, and selective power shots. Paul relied on his size advantage. He weighed in at 189.5 pounds to Mayweather's 155 and used clinches to survive. ESPN scored it 78-74 for Mayweather. The crowd booed the lack of fireworks, but Paul earned respect for going the distance against an undefeated legend who had beaten every man he ever faced across 50 professional fights. The fight was a spectacle, half sport, half circus, and it made everyone involved a lot of money. The fight generated over 1 million pay-per-view buys at $49.99 on Showtime, producing roughly $50 million in PPV revenue before gate receipts and international deals pushed total revenue past an estimated $80 million. Paul's reported deal was a $250,000 guarantee plus 10% of PPV revenue. Mayweather's was $10 million guaranteed plus 50% of PPV. By all accounts, both men were paid from the American broadcast. That part of the deal was honored. The part that was not honored, at least according to Logan Paul, happened before the cameras ever turned on. The build-up to the fight had been fueled by social media trash talk since late 2020 and had erupted into physical confrontation at a May 6, 2021 press conference at Hard Rock Stadium, where Jake Paul snatched Mayweather's hat, the now infamous gotcha hat moment, leading to a brawl that went massively viral and boosted pay-per-view interest. But behind the manufactured chaos and promotional theatrics, there were financial arrangements being made in private that Logan Paul says he only fully understood after the fight was over. Million in cash. On March 1, 2026, Paul sat down on the Iced Coffee Hour podcast and laid out the full story.
No, I didn't make as much money as you'd think fighting Floyd.
Did you get paid from that?
He still owes me $1.5 million. Maybe more.
That is the number. $1.5 million, not from pay-per-view, not from the American deal, from a separate transaction that took place months before fight night.
How does he owe you the money? Why don't you just
Here's what happened. He pre-sold the fight using my likeness to some company in, I think, Dubai or like the Middle East.
Before the fight moved to the United States, before Fanmio and Showtime became the official broadcasters, Mayweather had already sold the exhibition to a company in the Middle East. That company was Pass Entertainment Worldwide. The original agreement guaranteed Mayweather Promotions at least $110 million for a Dubai-hosted event. Passy made $10 million in advance payments, $5 million on April 7th and $5 million on April 9th, 2021, before the deal fell apart over missed deadlines and payment disputes. A further $10 million was demanded by April 14th. It never came. The fight had originally been announced on December 6, 2020 for February 20th, 2021, billed as bragging rights. It was postponed to June 6, 2021, officially for logistical reasons, though the behind-the-scenes collapse of the Dubai hosting arrangement clearly played a role in the timeline. By late April 2021, the fight was publicly confirmed for Miami under a completely different production structure, but Mayweather Promotions kept the $10 million from Pass.
This is my understanding of it. For $10 million cash. We ended up doing the fight in the States with a different company.
When the Dubai deal collapsed, the fight moved to Miami. It aired on Showtime in the United States and through various international broadcasters globally. A different company handled the production. A different company handled the pay-per-view. But that $10 million from PAC Entertainment had already been collected by Mayweather Promotions. The money was in. And according to Paul, his name and image were used to secure it.
That is the company that put on the fight. That is the company that paid. But he sold our fight with my name and likeness to someone else in Dubai for $10 million cash.
Paul's position is that a deal was made between him and Mayweather, separate from the PPV structure that entitled Paul to 15% of any pre-sale revenue involving the fight.
It's our fight, bro. Our deal was 15%. He fucking smoked me. So I got 15% of it.
15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. That is the math. Paul says that money was part of their agreement and none of it was paid. No independent court filing or public contract from Paul has confirmed the existence of the 15% clause, but the $10 million figure aligns precisely with what is documented in the Mayweather Promotions versus Pack Entertainment case in the Southern District of New York. The payments are in the record. The only question is whether Paul's contractual entitlement to a share of them was real.
15% of $10 million is $1.5 million. That company that paid him that money is suing him. I actually don't know the status on that lawsuit.
He is right about the EVHA litigation. Mayweather Promotions sued Passy Entertainment for $122.6 million in May 2021 after the Dubai deal collapsed. Passy countersued, claiming breach, and pointed to issues including Paul's WrestleMania 37 appearance in April 2021, which they argued violated physical risk clauses in the Dubai agreement, meaning Paul's participation in a wrestling event may have given Mayweather's team a convenient pretext to walk away from the deal while keeping the $10 million already collected. A September 2022 ruling by Judge Valerie Caproni dismissed most of Passy's counterclaims with prejudice, but allowed anticipatory breach and certain contract claims to proceed. No final public resolution has appeared in major reporting, suggesting the case may have settled privately. Logan Paul was not a party to that lawsuit. His claimed 15% share appears to stem from a separate, undisclosed arrangement with Mayweather that no public filing has confirmed or denied.
I should check in because he still owes me money, but he has a bunch of legal trouble at the moment that I don't think I'm ever getting the money.
That last sentence is the difference between 2022 Logan Paul and 2026 Logan Paul. In December 2021, he posted on Instagram calling Mayweather a corny weasel and demanding payment. In May 2022, he told TMZ he was short a few mil and taking this one to court. In July 2022, he told media at a press event that a couple million was somehow just missing and repeated his threat of legal action. Jake Paul amplified the claims, publicly calling Mayweather broke, but no public lawsuit from the Paul side against Mayweather has ever surfaced. No court judgment, no audited financial disclosure. 5 years later, Paul is no longer threatening anything. He has resigned. The anger has been replaced by exhaustion, and the money, if it was ever owed, sits in a place Paul does not expect to reach. To put the $1.5 million in context, the fight itself was a commercial success by every metric. The event reportedly exceeded $80 million in total revenue when you add gate receipts and international broadcasting deals to the domestic PPV numbers. Paul received a $250,000 guarantee plus 10% of PPV revenue, which put his total American payout somewhere between $5 million and $20 million, depending on which estimate you use. Mayweather's structure was $10 million guaranteed plus 50% of PPV, with industry estimates placing his total haul between $50 million and $100 million. Mayweather himself claimed in June 2022 that he made over $100 million from what he called a fake fight. The PPV money was a separate pipeline. Paul's not disputing that side of the deal. His grievance is surgical and specific. A $10 million cash payment from a Middle Eastern entity collected by Mayweather Promotions in April 2021 before the fight venue was even finalized, from which Paul says he was contractually entitled to 15%. That is $1.5 million. It was not delayed. It was not in a back-end pipeline. According to Paul, it was simply never sent, and the man who collected that $10 million had a very specific response when confronted about it. Mayweather's response and the fractures in the foundation. When Floyd Mayweather finally addressed Logan Paul's accusations, he did it on his own terms, in his own setting, with all the rhetorical control of a man who had spent decades controlling narratives. In February 2022, sitting down on the Pivot podcast with hosts Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor, Mayweather was asked directly about Paul's claims. His response was not a denial. It was not a confirmation. It was a reframing, a deliberate, almost choreographed pivot that transformed the conversation from, "Did you stiff a business partner?" into, "This is how boxing works and he should be grateful."
The money is not coming fast enough. That's why when they say money on the back end, as far as pay-per-view, it take a while, you know? And he shouldn't trip.
There's a calculated sleight of hand in that statement. Paul's 2026 claim is specifically about a $10 million cash pre-sale to a Dubai company, not about slow-moving pay-per-view back-end revenue. But Mayweather folded everything into one nebulous category of delayed payments, as if every dollar Paul was owed existed somewhere in the same bureaucratic pipeline of boxing economics. The implication was unmistakable and brilliantly self-serving. Be patient, this is normal. The checks come when the checks come.
If he feel like he done great numbers and we done record-breaking numbers, then I understand. Nothing comes right away.
He then propped up his position with the single most compelling argument in his entire rhetorical arsenal, the undeniable longevity of his own financial machine.
Just like I'm still collecting checks from fights 7 to 8 years ago. I'm still collecting checks. Why? Because I made smart moves and I'm my own boss.
That framing is effective because it contains a kernel of truth. Pay-per-view revenue in boxing genuinely does trickle in over months and sometimes years. International broadcast residuals can arrive long after a fight ends. Mayweather used that legitimate industry fact to create a blanket defense for every dollar Paul claimed was missing. Even the dollars that, according to court records in the Passy Entertainment case, were transferred in cash installments in April 2021, months before the fight even happened. That $10 million did not trickle. It arrived in 2 lump sums.
So they hate when a tables turn. You know, look how many years they've been owing us money. But we don't ever trip.
And then came the culmination, a sweeping, almost paternal dismissal that reduced the entire dispute to a matter of gratitude. Mayweather leaned back, looked at the hosts, and delivered the line that would come to define his position on the matter.
Be happy with the biggest payday you ever got in your life.
Be happy. That was the entire message. Do not question the Dubai money. Do not ask for your contractual percentage. Do not look too closely at where $10 million bind. Just be grateful that Floyd Mayweather chose you as his dance partner. It was the kind of response that only works if the person delivering it is perceived as operating from a position of unimpeachable financial strength, a man so wealthy that any dispute over a mere $1.5 million was beneath his attention. And in February 2022, that was still the widely held perception. But even Mayweather's own family found that position difficult to sustain. In April 2022, Floyd's uncle Jeff Mayweather, the brother of Floyd Sr. and a respected figure in boxing, publicly stated that Logan Paul do deserve to get paid during an appearance on Fred Talks Fighting. Jeff acknowledged he did not know the full details, but expected the situation to resolve in the coming months. That was 4 years ago. It is not resolved. By the summer of 2022, Mayweather abandoned the patient businessman tone altogether. He called the accusations bullshit and labeled them clout chasing, telling reporters that if Paul truly had not been paid, he would never have inquired about a rematch. Paul shot back that any rematch outreach originated from Mayweather's camp, not his own. Mayweather used the rematch interest as what he considered definitive proof that the financial arrangement was satisfactory, the logic being that nobody would voluntarily climb back into a ring with a man who had cheated them out of money. Paul rejected that reasoning entirely. What made the whole exchange particularly striking was the contrast between how Mayweather characterized his own financial position and what the public record would later reveal. On the Pivot podcast, the same episode where he told Paul to be happy, Mayweather projected an image of boundless, unassailable wealth. He spoke about owning properties across multiple states, about making over $1.2 billion with no endorsement deals, about having more money than Forbes could track. He described banks in Hong Kong, banks in Japan, banks in the UAE. He talked about flying exclusively by private jet, calling his pilot live on the show to arrange a flight for that same evening, and said he had not flown commercial in over a decade. He mentioned buying 4 cars at a time and sending back the ones he did not want. He said he could buy a hotel if he saw one he liked. That was the picture Mayweather painted in February 2022, a portrait of a man whose wealth was so vast it operated on a different plane of existence from normal economics. The picture that emerged 3 years later, courtesy of public records, court filings, and a determined investigative reporter at Business Insider, looked fundamentally and irreconcilably different. A December 2025 Business Insider investigation, which Mayweather subsequently sued for $100 million in defamation, reviewed property records, court filings, liens, and FAA documents. It interviewed sources including hard money lender Don Hankey. The picture it assembled was startling. In 2024, Mayweather took out a $54 million loan from Hankey at approximately 9% interest, an aggressively expensive rate even by high net worth standards. The collateral was cross-collateralized across 14 residential homes, his Las Vegas strip club building, girl collection, and his Gulfstream private jet, the one plastered with his name, Air Mayweather. Hankey told Business Insider that Mayweather's wealth appeared anchored in the value of his personal homes with limited limited other credit history. Cross-collateralization is a mechanism that means if Mayweather defaults on any single asset in that bundle, the lender can seize all of them. It is the kind of arrangement that signals either supreme confidence or genuine desperation, and the events that followed suggested it was not confidence. The jet, Air Mayweather, was sold in late 2025, according to FAA records. Before the sale, it had already accumulated a $137,000 default judgment from a Texas jet fuel supplier and a $358,000 aircraft maintenance lien filed in July 2025. His Beverly Hills mansion was sold to a partner. His Miami mansion was sold to a partner. A $3.6 million Las Vegas commercial building was foreclosed and auctioned in February 2025, auctioned back to its previous owner, no less. A $4.5 million Los Angeles warehouse, purchased with a $1.5 million down payment, was foreclosed in August 2025 after the seller, businessman John Berman, lost patience with missed repayment deadlines. Berman reportedly pointed to Mayweather's recent luxury car purchases as evidence that the money existed but was being directed elsewhere. 2 Trump Las Vegas condos were seized by Clark County in summer 2025 for unpaid property taxes, then returned after a $20,000 payment. His strip club building faced potential forfeiture over $52,000 in back property taxes and penalties. A $568 lien landed on his Las Vegas mansion for unpaid trash collection, and there were the cars, always the cars. A Las Vegas luxury car dealer sued in September 2025 over an unpaid $1.2 million Mercedes-Maybach G-Wagon that Mayweather took as part of a 4-car deal through Mayweather Promotions LLC. Mayweather countersued the dealer for fraud, claiming the car was defective. Both cases remain pending. The irony deepens when you look at Mayweather's real estate claims during this same period. In February 2025, he announced on Instagram that he had purchased 62 rent-regulated apartment buildings in Upper Manhattan for $402 million, claiming outright ownership with no partners. 1 month later, NYC property records showed no transfer, and those records update quickly. The NYC Housing Partnership, involved in the affordability component of those buildings, had no notice of any sale. Sources told Business Insider that Mayweather held, at most, a small minority stake that may never have been formally exercised. A separate $100 million Manhattan luxury high-rise portfolio, announced in fall 2024 with Go Partners, was similarly promoted as a major acquisition. Sources later told reporters Mayweather's actual investment was nominal, and his equity was eventually absorbed. The pattern, according to Business Insider, was consistent: announce a massive deal, claim full ownership, and let the headlines do the work, while public records told a quieter, less impressive story. This was the man telling Logan Paul to be happy. The pattern, the creditors, and the ones who saw it coming. Logan Paul's $1.5 million is a single thread in an enormously tangled web. The full catalog of people and companies waiting for Floyd Mayweather to pay them is staggering in both its scale and its specificity. Consider AJ's Jewelry in Miami, a store that had served Mayweather as a loyal customer for 17 years. In August 2025, Mayweather walked in and purchased 26 luxury watches and 15 gold Cuban link chains, valued at a combined $1,675 million. He paid $300,000 through 2 wire transfers. Then he wrote 5 checks. Every single one of them bounced. The store sued in early 2026 for the remaining $35 million. Separate Miami jeweler Leonard Suleimanov had already sued in 2024 over approximately $3.9 million in unpaid luxury watches, a Patek Philippe, 2 Richard Mille pieces, and more. That case settled with installment payments. When those installments stopped arriving, Suleimanov filed a new federal suit in January 2026, alleging Mayweather breached the settlement while continuing to flaunt his wealth on Instagram, posting cash stacks from the south of France. Then there is the Manhattan Penthouse, a jaw-dropping luxury duplex at the Baccarat Hotel, and residences on West 53rd Street, leased at $100,000 per month starting in late 2024. Mayweather stopped paying in July 2025. By the time he vacated in December 2025, he owed approximately $515,000 in back rent. The landlords, Layla and David Sentner, sued in early 2026 for over $337,000. They described confronting Mayweather about the debt in December 2025. He appeared surprised by the total. He promised to pay. He made one $100,000 payment, then he disappeared. On another continent entirely, a Nigerian media firm called Zinni Media Concept Limited had been waiting even longer. In June 2017, Zinni contracted Mayweather for promotional appearances across Africa, paying $210,000 up front. Mayweather never appeared, never refunded the money. Zinni sued in 2018. Mayweather's engagement with his own legal defense was so negligent that the court eventually entered terminating sanctions, striking his answer entirely and entering default, after finding a pattern of refusal and what the appellate court later described as orchestrated ignorance. The default judgment of $376 million was affirmed on appeal in August 2024. With interest, the debt is swelled to approximately $3 million. Enforcement options include seizing luxury vehicles such as a 2015 Bugatti Veyron. As of early 2026, Mayweather has paid nothing. His IRS history tells its own relentless story. Mayweather settled over $28 million in back taxes across multiple years, including a staggering $22.2 million lien for his 2015 taxes from the Pacquiao fight. Before the McGregor fight in 2017, he petitioned U.S. tax court for a short-term delay, arguing his assets were restricted and primarily illiquid, an extraordinary admission from a man who at that very moment was posting videos of himself counting million-dollar cash stacks aboard a private jet. A 2023 U.S. tax court concession added another $5.5 million in tax plus $1.1 million in penalties. And then, in February 2026, Mayweather made a move that reframed the entire conversation. He filed a $340 million lawsuit against Showtime Networks and former executive Steven Espinoza, alleging that his longtime advisor Al Heyman, the man he once described on the Pivot podcast as a second father figure who helped him get this mansion and this mansion and this jet, had diverted a colossal portion of his career earnings through hidden accounts and unauthorized transactions. The suit claimed at least $340 million was missing from his approximately $1.2 billion in career purses. The sheer magnitude of that number forces you to rethink every financial claim Mayweather has ever made. For years, he told the world every property he owned was paid for. His jet was paid for. All his cars were paid for. He told the Pivot podcast he had made over $1.2 billion independently with no endorsement deals, and that Forbes did not even know his real wealth. Now, in a sworn legal filing, his own legal team argues that roughly $1/3 billion may have been siphoned from under him. Either Mayweather was deceived for 20 years, meaning the self-proclaimed shrewdest businessman in sports was oblivious to the management of his own fortune, or the financial portrait he painted for the world was never accurate to begin with. Gervonta Davis, the fighter Mayweather mentored, promoted, and helped build into a world champion, appears to have sensed the fractures before most outsiders did. When asked about his increasingly contentious relationship with Mayweather, Davis described a man who could not handle being surpassed by someone he once controlled.
Wait, like when Floyd was 29, you'll see, bro.
Yeah.
That deal that I'm talking about.
Davis then teased a new deal, one he claimed Mayweather did not yet know about, and made a declaration that, in light of everything that has since come to light about Mayweather's financial reality, carries considerably more weight now than when he first said it.
Yeah, oh, that's a part of the
deal. He don't know about that yet, but that's bigger than his deal.
Damn. Wow.
The interviewer pressed.
And I'm just releasing it.
Exclusive. That's exclusive. Bigger than Floyd deal?
Yeah.
Davis has separated from Mayweather Promotions. He now operates independently, and the separation was not amicable. Meanwhile, Mayweather's own split from Al Heyman, the advisor he credited with building his financial empire, has been followed by the $340 million fraud lawsuit. The people who were closest to Mayweather's money are now either targets of his litigation or subjects of his estrangement. Commentators covering the Business Insider revelations captured the dissonance between Mayweather's public persona and his private reality.
So, Floyd Mayweather Jr., according to a news article, is in a desperate financial situation. He has had major setback.
The details kept compounding.
Things that were mentioned were things like all of his fitness centers shutting down. There is a foreclosure warning out on a building that he owns that houses a strip club.
Those fitness centers, Mayweather Boxing Plus Fitness, expanded to over 70 locations before more than half reportedly shut down by 2025, with franchisees suing executives over alleged false earnings promises.
He had to sell, my understanding is he had to sell his jets. He had over $500,000 worth of jet fuel fees and other things that didn't get paid.
The jet fuel figure is in the records. A Texas aviation fuel supplier filed suit over approximately $137,000 in unpaid bills and obtained a default judgment in October 2025. A separate $358,000 aircraft maintenance lion was filed against the jet in July 2025 before being settled the following month. Combined with the exaggerated real estate claims, the $402 million Manhattan portfolio that property records could not confirm, from the $100 million luxury high-rise deal, where his stake turned out to be nominal. The overall portrait is one of a man whose public announcements consistently outpace the underlying financial reality. Mayweather's attorney, Bobby Samini, has consistently pushed back against narratives of financial distress. He has called the Business Insider reporting unfounded, described Mayweather's borrowing as standard practice for wealthy individuals leveraging equity, and emphasized his client's rise from poverty to a highly successful business empire. Mayweather himself has not directly addressed the December 2025 investigation, but responded by filing a $100 million defamation suit against Business Insider. The publication stands by its reporting, but the numbers do not need commentary. They speak with unmistakable clarity. Logan Paul's $1.5 million sits alongside $1.375 million owed to a Miami jeweler, over $337,000 to Manhattan landlords, nearly $3 million to a Nigerian media company, millions more in disputed settlements and foreclosed properties, and now, in Mayweather's own sworn telling, $340 million allegedly stolen from him by the network and advisor he trusted for 20 years. The man who told Logan Paul to be happy with the biggest payday you ever got in your life is now in court arguing that his own biggest paydays were stolen from him. Whether Mayweather's empire is genuinely fracturing or merely experiencing the turbulent liquidity pressures of a high-leverage, high-expenditure lifestyle is something only audited books and final court outcomes will ultimately reveal. His net worth estimates still range from $400 million to $600 million in some outlets, anchored by tangible real estate holdings. No bankruptcy has been filed. No total collapse has been alleged by credible sources. But the gap between what Mayweather broadcasts to the world, the cash stacks, the diamond watches, the claim that Forbes does not even know his real wealth, and what public records, court filings, and the growing queue of unpaid creditors reveal has never been wider. And Logan Paul, sitting on a podcast 5 years after sharing a ring with the undefeated champion, sounding not angry but weary, spoke the quiet truth that binds every thread of this story together. I don't think I'm ever getting the money. That brings us to the end of this video. For more interesting videos like this, click on the cards on your screen.